So we finished Surah Al-Ma'idah. We talked about that yesterday, and now the bulk of the Juz is in Surah Al-An'am. And Surah Al-An'am is a very powerful exposition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish His greatness and His absolute ability and absolute knowledge. And it was revealed, unlike all of the other chapters that were revealed, a verse at a time. This chapter was revealed all at once. Surah Al-An'am, all of it was revealed, full lock, stock and barrel. And really the 2/3 of the surah, particularly the ayat that we're going to read today, this is a challenge to those that do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this verse, in this chapter, there's a very special verse, verse 59. And many of you maybe have heard me say this verse because I use this verse when I begin the classes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has the keys of the unseen. No one knows these things but Him. And the unseen things we know from the hadith and we know from the last verse of Surah Al-Luqman. There are 5 things that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is in the womb of the mother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows when it will rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, none of us know what we will achieve tomorrow. None of us know where we will die. And none of us know when the final hour will come. And sometimes when we talk about these unseen things, people say, well, I have an app that tells me when it's going to rain. So what does that mean? But if you take our knowledge, for example, of like the rain, if you just take one step backwards, you are going to be in the unknown. So this afternoon, I was sitting at home and I look outside and, all of a sudden it was dark and the tree was like half bent and I was like, it's going to rain. But one moment before that, I didn't know it was going to rain. And if you think about that vis-a-vis our knowledge versus absolute knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you just take a step back, then you will fall into the unknown. So just because we can predict when it's going to rain, but if we remove ourselves from when that prediction starts, we don't know. We don't know what the weather will be like a month from now, a year from now. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no one knows when it's going to rain, that means absolutely no one knows the weather pattern forever. So Allah begins this verse, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. And Allah knows everything that is on land and on sea. وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. And not a leaf falls from the tree except Allah knows that this leaf will fall from the tree. وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ. And not a seedling in the depths, in the darkness of the sea. وَلَا رَطْبٍ وَلَا يَابِسٍ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. Or things that come from dry matter or wet matter, except that it is written in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's book. This verse is very powerful, and it is a custom amongst some of the teachers of Al-Azhar that they would begin their classes with this verse. And this verse, if you think about it, all of these micro things that happen, like a leaf falling from a tree. Think about how many leaves there are around us. Not a leaf falls from the tree except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that leaf will fall. And furthermore, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows something, that means that Allah's ri'ayah, Allah's care and Allah's attention is with that thing. Which means there's nothing, even in the depths of the sea, there are parts of the sea that are absolute darkness. No water can penetrate. No artificial lights, can penetrate. ظُلُمَاتٍ فَوْقَ ظُلُمَاتٍ. Darkness upon darkness in the depth of the sea. Nothing happens in this dominion except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with it and knows about it and says, kun fayakun, be and it is. Likewise, that means everything in us individually, every breath, every beat of our heart, every moment that we can see, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it and wills it to be. and allows it to be, and therefore cares about it. And we just read, كَتَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ, and Allah has prescribed for Himself mercy. So this is from Allah's mercy and awesomeness and greatness, that everything that happens in the perceived universe happens in His domain, happens under His will, happens because He says be, and it is. And nothing is out of Allah Ta'ala's control. And this is why one of the magic phrases that we have is La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power, there is no ability except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Usually our parents say this when we do something wrong. You break something, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But it's also a statement of belief, a statement of conviction. There is no power. وَكَمْ مِنْ فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةٍ كَثِيرَةٍ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And how many, a small group, a minority, the underdog beats the majority, the favored party, by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this surah, Allah ta'ala is establishing, He's challenging us to think. Do you think that the leaves fall from the tree, that the fish swim in the sea, that you take this breath and Allah ta'ala does not allow it, Allah does not know about it, Allah is not encompassing this with His mercy? Think about breathing, something that is involuntary. Imagine if you had trouble breathing. You don't think about these things, or blinking. If you don't blink, your eyes will go dry and they will bleed. And these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and His lutf and His subtleness is with us at every moment, every micro moment of our existence. So Allah establishes this chapter as a challenge to us. So if there's any doubt in Allah's ability, any doubt that Allah knows what's going on, Allah cuts it off in this chapter. And this verse is like an access verse, as I call them, around which the chapter revolves, that nothing happens big or small. Nothing is insignificant, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows it to happen. And Allah ta'ala is in control. Not we. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But we have to work. But our hearts are comforted knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge. And this is our teachers, they used to say, the farmer, they plant the seed, and then they say, Ya Rabb. So we work, the jawarih, our limbs work, but our hearts are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because only Allah ta'ala has the power to make something happen. And this is our secret. This is why we have no fear. And this is why we have confidence and conviction. Because we know that the result of everything that we do is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And think of your own lives, your own moments when the unconceivable happened. She said yes to your marriage proposal. Right? You thought that she would never say yes to you, but she said yes, and this was a miracle for all of the men, that our wives accepted our proposals. Or the children that were given to us. Or the job you thought you would never get. Or the exam question you thought you would never pass. Or even, for example, Sidi Ali memorizing the Quran and this journey to commit all of these verses to memory. All of this is a miracle. In our own life, we're living miracles. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge of our lives. So this chapter sets this up so that we can remember His constant control and constant mercy. Because this control of Allah Ta'ala's mercy. When Allah Ta'ala looks at something, when Allah Ta'ala thinks of something, this is a rahmah. This is a mercy to be remembered. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathers His angels, gather around these majalis and dhikr, the gatherings of remembrance. And they go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they say, look at what your servants are doing. And then Allah ta'ala mentions us fil mala' al-a'la. Allah mentions us by name to His angels and shows off. So when Allah ta'ala is concerned with something, this is mercy. It's not like the government, when they get your name, they're like, oh, that's the end of me. No, Allah ta'ala is merciful and compassionate and loving. And we want to be known with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are known because everything we do, He is in control of. So these are some thoughts about al-an'am. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله.